Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Christy Lynn, and if you watched my recent video, you know that I am pregnant, and today I'm going to be giving you my 5-week pregnancy update. I'm so grateful and excited to be here at 5 weeks. I'm just grateful for every single day that God gives me another day with this little baby in my belly. As you may know from my previous video, my husband and I had a miscarriage earlier this year. So this is the farthest we have come with a pregnancy. This is my second pregnancy, and Lord willing, it will be our first little baby that we get to meet here on earth. So today I want to talk about just the difference between week 4 symptoms and week 5 symptoms. The last baby we lost at just over 4 weeks, so making it to week 5 was a very anxious journey, and I just have prayed a lot. I've worried a lot. I've also had lots of moments of peace and just knowing that this is in God's hands. But anyways, going from week 4 to week 5 just had a lot of anxiety surrounding it. I'm currently working full-time, and there have been a lot of stressors added to my work situation. So that, on top of being pregnant and being worried and then having the initial concern, just brought on a lot of anxiety. But we have made it this far. I'm actually 6 weeks today, but I'll be talking about the whole week 5 to you today. Also, disclaimer, if you are a guy, you probably don't want to watch this video because it is very TMI, a lot of pregnancy symptoms. This video is mainly for women who are going through this. So if you are not, or you're a guy, you probably want to exit this video just because it is a lot of details, pregnancy related symptoms. They're not the most beautiful things to talk about. So once I hit week 5, I noticed that my nausea improved significantly. I think a lot of the nausea I was experiencing in week 4 was just nerves. I mean, I think it was a little bit of both. Like, I could feel a lot going on down there, kind of like butterflies or electricity. It was just this weird sensation down there. So I definitely knew something was happening. A baby was growing in there, and I could just feel it all happening. So I think that kind of made me sick to my stomach, but also just worrying and having the work stress and all of that going on didn't help at all. So I did find the most helpful thing with that was every morning I start my day off drinking an electrolyte, and it's just a powder that I add to my water. It's by Seeking Health, and they are really good with pregnancy vitamins and minerals and all of that stuff. I found them because of my MTHFR mutation, and you have to be really careful with if you have that mutation and you're pregnant to take the right things. So if you have that, or you're interested in, or if you're pregnant and are experiencing some nausea early on, then I will link the electrolyte that I use below, and it really helped me a lot. I start off every morning drinking that before I eat anything, and it seems to just calm my stomach a bit. And then I also keep a bag of Lifesaver mints. That's just what I have tried so far, and I'll keep a bag on hand. I'll take a handful with me to work, and I'll just pop one of those in my mouth if I start feeling a little bit sick. So I did start feeling sick pretty early on, really pretty much right away as soon as I found out I was pregnant. But going into week 5, I found that nausea improved significantly. I had a few days here and there throughout the week that I felt not that great, but not like it was in week 4. I felt a little nervous about that because I thought, does this mean I have a reduction in symptoms? Going into about the middle of the week, I started to notice an increase in spotting, which really made me nervous because that's just not what you want to see, especially if you've had a miscarriage and you know how that goes. There were a couple of days that I was so nervous that it was hard to hold on to hope for a couple of days. I couldn't tell, is it really spotting? Is it not? I couldn't quite tell. It never turned red. Like I said, if you're hopefully watching this because you are pregnant or wondering if you're pregnant and going through this same thing or something similar and wondering if things are okay or wondering what's normal. So that is why I'm sharing it, because these types of videos were so helpful to me. So I hope they're helpful to you too. But anyways, yes, I had an increase in what appeared to be some very light spotting in about the middle of week 5, and I really felt very concerned about that. I knew my numbers had doubled last week, my HCG numbers doubled, so I tried to just hold on to that hope. So around the middle of week 5, when that spotting kind of picked up, I remember that day just my legs felt really shaky and really weak, and fatigue was starting to hit me this week. And then also I remember the day that the spotting was the heaviest, I just laid in bed as soon as I got home and turned on a bunch of shows. And I remember my husband was off that day, so we both were just laying in bed watching some shows, snuggling up together, and I just had the most dull, achy cramps in my lower abdomen. And I mean, like, let me see if I can show you, like really down here, I just felt such like cramping, but it was just very dull cramping, like a very dull, achy feeling. It wasn't like bad period cramps or anything like that. It was just this constant dull, achy cramping down there. And it started in the evening after all that spotting, and it just continued throughout the evening until I went to sleep. But thankfully the next day I woke up, there was no more spotting, I didn't have any cramps, and I felt really good down there. I still had just fatigue, and I knew like all my symptoms aren't gone, so I wasn't too worried because I had that fatigue that I was carrying around. And honestly, the fatigue doesn't bother me too much because I have suffered with chronic fatigue syndrome for over 10 years, so I'm used to that. Although, side note, I worked very hard to improve my chronic fatigue. I found vitamins that really helped me out, and I will be doing an update video on what I found to help my chronic fatigue syndrome. But fatigue is not a stranger to me at all, so when it started to hit me week 5, you know, it was nothing new. But in a way, I have to say that every pregnancy symptom I've had, the fatigue and exhaustion, the tired legs, the nausea, all of that, honestly, I thank God for each and every one of them, because I feel like if I'm feeling symptoms, then I'm still pregnant and there's still a little being in here, and I'm just so happy. It makes me so happy to feel sick, honestly, because I know that that little baby is still growing in here and still safe and sound, and God's got his hand on it. And so yeah, it just brings me some peace, and I don't mind the misery at all. And really, it hasn't been that bad, especially week 5, things really improved, and I'm really stuck with just mainly fatigue. I have a little bit of breast tenderness, but just a little bit, nothing bad. Honestly, my first pregnancy that ended in miscarriage, it hurt a bit more. So I don't know, maybe my body was already kind of, since it was just 2 months later that we got pregnant again, maybe my body was already kind of ramped up there. I don't know. So I'm sure I'm going to get more sensitivity there as time goes on, because into week 5, it's like a dull, like stingy, ouchy feeling, but nothing bad. Nothing like I've heard people say where they take a shower and it's like super painful. It's like, what are the first signs they have? I haven't experienced anything that dramatic. But yeah, honestly, as week 5 went on, I was just so happy that the spotting cleared up, the cramping cleared up, and I really just was feeling off. Like I know something's going on down there, but I felt so much better. My anxiety lifted, and things are just looking good as the week went on. In addition to fatigue, I would say fatigue has been my main symptom, but in addition to that, I have had some shortness of breath and also some heart palpitations, but that's nothing too unusual for me. I usually get heart palpitations, I don't know, for various reasons. You just take some deep breaths and wait for them to pass. Oh, that day where I had all that aching down here and had the spotting, I also wondered if I just overworked myself at work, because I've been really stressed out at work. And if you remember my previous video, I mentioned that my husband and I made the decision that I would quit my job and just focus on baby and myself and being healthy and taking care of it and resting and all of that stuff. I'm beyond grateful that he supported me in that decision, and also that we set up our life in a way that I could quit my job. We bought this house, we downsized so that we could live on one income when and if we had kids. And so here we are, and things are just working out so well. I feel so blessed for that. So anyways, that was a side note. I was really pushing myself that day at work. I moved around a lot, went up and down stairs a lot, and I'm a banker if you don't know, but I'm not like a teller. I work at the headquarters of a small bank, and it's just basically behind the scenes stuff. I don't face customers. I work on like escrow and mortgage releases and HMDA stuff. If you know anything about banking, that might make sense to you. But anyways, not to bore you with that, that's what I do, and I decided enough was enough. I am not a career woman. I have been looking forward to this day for a long time, and so I've really been working just to bring in the extra income to help with our home renovations and all of that. So yeah, I think I was just maybe working myself too hard, and once I relaxed a bit, things got a lot better. The last symptom I want to talk about that happened towards the end of week 5, just a few days ago, is I started to break out on my forehead. I don't know if you can see what's left, but a little bit there. So I really started to notice I was breaking out my forehead and it was hurting, and I thought, that's weird because I was doing pretty good. So I did get some acne with this pregnancy, which I didn't in the first pregnancy in February. Actually, my skin was like super clear, and so this time around it was a little different. I got the breakouts and then they cleared up in week 4, and then week 5 I started breaking out on my forehead. So I don't know what that means. Just a lot of hormones going on, but again, I'm grateful for it all because it just means I'm still pregnant. And I just put a hot washcloth on it because that's my go-to thing. I don't like to use a lot of chemicals on my face. I just take like a hot washcloth in the shower and I just keep pressing it on there. When it cools down, I get it hot again and do it again for like 5 times. And that really seems to clear up acne. We'll see. If it gets worse, I might have to use something a little stronger, but it has cleared up in the last day or so. Hopefully I don't break out too crazy, but you know what? It's just another pregnancy symptom. And that wraps up all my symptoms. Honestly, the worst symptom I have had this week is not even pregnancy related. I threw out my neck last weekend. It's been an entire week now. My neck is super painful. I feel like a robot the way I have to look around and stuff. And I ended up going to the chiropractor to try to get it adjusted, and it's still really painful. So I'm going back in a couple of days, but that has been the worst thing. Not pregnancy related, but a huge distraction. I haven't really had any cravings, anything strong yet. I haven't had any really strong food aversions. I did feel a little sick of salad, which I usually love salad with an avocado, and yesterday I made a big salad for dinner and I couldn't finish it because the taste of it just kind of got old. But that is nothing new for me. I tend to eat things until I can't stand them anymore. Like, I'll eat the same thing over and over because I love it, and then suddenly, before I know it, I hate it because I'm tired of it. So I think I probably just did that to myself. So I don't know, I gotta use up 1.5 bags of salad now that I bought. Whew, we'll see. But anyways, that is week 5. And again, I'm just so grateful to be, now I'm actually week 6, just turned 6 weeks today. So thankful for that. Every day that I have with this little baby, I'm just beyond blessed, and both my husband and I are just grateful for every day. And Lord willing, we'll get to meet this baby in just 7.5 months, hopefully. Yeah. So, oh, and I don't really have any baby belly yet or anything like that, but I will show you a shot of my belly, but not too much going on there. I know it's just too early for that. Let me know if you are on week 5 too in the comments below, or if you're pregnant, I'd love to hear how far along you are, or even if you're trying to get pregnant, I'd love to hear about your journey because I know it's not always easy. I'm just so looking forward to my last day of work, which is going to be, this week is going to be my last week, and I just want to focus on working on the house. We've got so many projects since we're renovating the entire thing, and also I want to start a little garden and just work on our yard and make it beautiful. There's so many things I want to do. Hopefully the fatigue gets a little better and I get some motivation, but I also am going to be working on my online businesses and just trying to bring in some extra money where I can, since I am going to be leaving my job. Maybe I would go back to work part-time just to offset insurance, but right now we don't need it. You know, we got this house that works on one income. We don't have any other debt, and we're just gonna see how we feel. And yeah, I did have my first appointment. They did a pregnancy test there, and I asked the nurse, I was like, did it still show pregnant? And she was like, yeah, it still showed pregnant. I'm actually going to be switching doctors. I'm going to have my ultrasound here on my first ultrasound, where we'll get to hear the baby's heartbeat, and that is going to be on May 27th. I honestly cannot wait. I'm nervous, but I can't wait, and I'm just praying that everything is okay and going well. But I'm actually going to be going with a new doctor for that ultrasound, just because I'm trying to find a doctor that I really like. So I'm just gonna try a few out. All right, but that is it. That's my week 5 update. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I hope this was helpful to you. I'm going to show you a little bit of my belly, even though there's not anything to see yet. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Let me know if you want to see weekly updates, or maybe if that's too much and you just want to see like maybe like a monthly update. I'm always open to suggestions. I have been sharing our renovations of this house, how we're remodeling it and all of that. But let me know what else you might want to see, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!